How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another pool coaching video. Today, I'd like you to meet Mahmood, and I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He comes to us by way of Australia, the land down under. And from what he's told me, he has only been playing pool for about a year. And after seeing my previous coaching videos, he was interested in knowing what type of advice I could give him to help improve his game, as well as what his rank might be, because I'm not entirely sure what type of leagues they might have there in Australia. But after watching these 2 racks of 8 ball that he's provided us, we can certainly estimate what his APA rank might be. So let's see what we can do for him. Okay, Mahmood, let's see how your first rack can go. And just so everybody's aware, I think he actually recorded his 2 racks without any sound on. So just so that you know that when you don't hear anything, it's not because I muted the video. Now let's begin. Okay, pretty nice strong break there, except we didn't make anything. So let's see what your opening shot is going to be as player 2. And at this point as player 2, if you were to miss a ball, that's when your inning count is going to go up. Okay, glancing at the 15 ball to see if it goes in the side. Looks like you're gonna choose stripes there. Okay, we have to switch to a smaller cue because of the fence that we have there. It is gonna be stripes. Okay, does that mean you're gonna take out the 15 ball that you glanced at earlier? Maybe not. Okay, nice shot on the 12 ball there. Okay, now it looks like you're going to take the 15 out. That was a good recovery if you didn't like the original position. Excellent. Okay, I like this planning here because it looks like you might be trying to cut the 11 ball into the side pocket, and it looks like you're making sure you know where your cue ball is going to go. Because what's the next ball you're going to shoot at after that? Okay, it looks like it's going to be the 13. This is looking like it's going to be a rack and run. Good shot there. Pretty square up for the 14 ball. The cue ball doesn't even have to move for the 8. 8 ball in the side pocket. Well, what exactly do you need help on when you do a really good run like that? That was freaking awesome. There is only one thing I think I can comment on with this particular rack, so let's go take a look at that. So this is the only spot in rack 1 that I wanted to comment on, and like with most of my previous coaching videos, I tend to start with the break. Now, I'm not so much commenting on your break because you broke dry. However, if we do look at the fact that since you broke dry as player 1, when you came back as player 2, you ran the rest of the table. Therefore, player 1 lost just because of having a dry break. Which is why we've all heard the saying about how the break is the most important shot of the game. You can either win off of the break, or you can literally lose because of the break, like how this first rack went. So, what I would like to show you with your break is this. I'm going to draw a line through your cue and then through the cue ball. Because when I play your break in slow motion, I want you to be able to see how much movement there is in your cue with your practice strokes and then when you finally hit the cue ball. So can you see right here how your elbow is moving up and down during your practice strokes? And that's going to cause your cue to move up and down. And you can also see how you have some side to side motion. But then when you finally hit the cue ball, your cue goes off to your right when I actually expected it to land near the line which I drew. It doesn't have to land perfectly on the line, but I don't think it should be off to this side like this. And the reason why it goes off to the side like this is because how you move your grip hand underneath your body to generate the power that you're wanting into the break. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with putting power into your break, though I have suggested in previous videos that since you're using a magic rack, you don't necessarily need power. You just need a good clean hit and the balls will actually spread in a particular pattern since all the balls are frozen together using a magic rack. If you weren't using a magic rack, then I certainly would suggest about using more power than you would technique. So, with regards to this, what I can suggest is slow down a little bit to where you don't have to follow through this much and you don't have to tuck your grip hand underneath your body. Because you don't do that when you actually shoot regular shots, which is pretty much what I'm suggesting you try to do with your breaks. Break like you would shooting a ball, except you're trying to hit the ball harder or faster, whichever way you decide to describe it, and still maintain control of the cue ball and maintain control of your cue and not have it go off to one side like this. And then once you get control of that, then just add a little bit more power each and every time until you find there's actually going to be a breaking point, literally, where you just can't control your cue and you don't really want to use that much power when you don't have control of your cue. So, in summary, keep control of your cue during your break. You'll actually see how much more powerful your break actually is because you'll have a good, clean delivery through the cue ball and not glance off of the side of the cue ball. And then you'll also notice a particular pattern that the balls will actually spread. So, that's all I got for rack one. Now, let's check out rack two. Okay, let's see if you're going to give us anything to comment on in rack two. Now, you won rack one as player two, so you're still breaking here as player two, and we're waiting for player two to miss for an inning to go up. So let's see how this goes. Okay, I see the same type of movement here as rack one for your first break, and we see your cue go off to one side. So I just want to emphasize again about having control over your cue, and you'll be able to see the amount of power that you can actually put into your break when you actually go straight through the cue ball and not glance off to the side. Again, it looks like we have a dry break, so that does cost you an inning now, and we're back to player one. So are you going to run the rack out as player one? You're going to do stripes just like you did in the first rack. Oh, he's human after all. Okay, back to player two with solids. And I liked that shot there. That way you were able to get the 7 ball out into the open. Okay, it looks like we missed the 7 ball into the side pocket, so now we're back to player one. Good. I like the planning that you did there. You glanced at the 12 ball to make sure it passes by the 3 because that's the next ball that you set up for. That's awesome. Nice draw shot. Okay, good use of the bridge there for position on the 13 ball. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, good shot. Get the short cue back out. This will be a tester here. Oh, never mind. Well, okay, so yeah, let's see what we can talk about on this one here. I actually did see maybe about one or two spots that I can comment on because that was just freaking awesome for you to finish this in 2 innings. So let's go back and look at those two spots that I was talking about. So this is the first spot I wanted to comment on in rack two. You're now shooting as player two, and you had just previously made the 5 ball into the side pocket, and you were able to open up your 7 ball. To which now you're having to bridge over your 4 ball in order to shoot at your 7 ball. And the reason why I wanted to comment on this spot is because of your posture that you have between your elbow and your grip hand being at this angle here. Now, seeing how you've been standing over the table, assuming the table is of regulation height, it would appear that you're my height, maybe a little bit taller, because I'm 5'5". And I tested what I'm about to say on my table with this exact shot having to bridge over a ball. And that is, I was able to have my grip hand directly underneath my elbow like this, which is pretty much what I'm going to suggest to you. So that's probably going to cause you to have to step to your right a little bit and then turn more towards to where you're facing the direction of the shot. And that should allow your elbow to pivot out a little bit to where it's directly above your grip hand. Now, the only reason why I suggest that is so that you can avoid the possibility of any side to side motion when your grip hand is off to the side like this, because we've seen that when you're straight up and down between your elbow and your grip hand, you have a really good clean stroke. Now, is it really this big of a deal here? No, because when we saw you execute the shot, your elbow stayed perfectly still even when you hit the cue ball. I mean, your elbow didn't even drop a little bit. It's just unfortunate that you missed the shot. And I'm certainly not suggesting that this is the reason why you missed the shot. I just think that normally when your grip hand is off to the side like this, is that's because you're elevating so high to where you're going to be around 60 to 70 degrees for some sort of jump shot or even a curve shot, or even higher up to where you're going to do a masse shot. Because on any other type of shot, your grip hand would be directly below your elbow, which is certainly what I would suggest that you try to be able to do for the majority of your shots, unless you know you're going to be elevating a lot higher than you already are. And this is the final spot in rack two that I wanted to comment on, and I actually have two comments for this situation here. You shot the 9 ball into the corner pocket. Your cue ball came off to the side rail over here to where you had to use a shorter cue on the 13 ball to go into the corner pocket. And you drew your cue ball back over here and almost scratched in the side pocket. And then you made a really good shot on the 11 ball with the shorter cue again. And your cue ball came off the side rail, bumped into the 8 ball, pushed the 8 over here, and your cue ball landed somewhere over here, and you're able to finish the rack. So, what could I possibly suggest since you finished the rack? Well, you did have to use that shorter cue 2 times. So, what I want to suggest is maybe having to use the shorter cue less. And we saw before you took this shot on the 9 ball that you did glance at the 13 ball. I'm just curious as to why you didn't shoot it. Because it does look like you can shoot it here into the corner pocket, and it doesn't look like it's a straight in shot, and you can have your cue ball just come over here. Maybe the cue ball is just a little too close to the 13 ball and you were afraid of double hitting the cue ball. Not entirely sure. But if you are able to shoot this shot and your cue ball does land over here, with using your normal cue now, you can just shoot the 9 ball into the corner pocket and have your cue ball come back over here for position on the 11 ball, to where you have two different ways you can get position on the 8 ball, either here or here, depending upon where you want to shoot the 8 ball last, like so. That's the first comment that I wanted to make on this spot. The second comment was when you're over here shooting the 13 ball after you had made the 9 ball. We had saw how when you shot this ball here, your cue ball draws back over here. So I'm curious if you would have just lowered the elevation of your cue, if you would have gotten the cue ball to just stun over here instead and have better position on the 11 ball to where you can use your regular cue and then still do the same type of positions as you could have done from the previous comment, all depending upon what you're more comfortable with. The only reason why I have these two comments here is for you to be able to avoid having to use the shorter cue in this particular situation here. But was it really that big of a deal? No, because you ran the table even using the shorter cue in this situation here. And that's all that I really have for you on these two racks because you shot magnificently. There's not so much I can really say except for the emphasis that I can put on your break because you did break dry on these two racks here. So this is where I can suggest maybe checking out my breaking an 8 ball rack two ways video, or check out my playing the ghost in 8 ball for a race to 3 video, and you can see the different ways that I actually break an 8 ball rack, and you can also see that consistent pattern that I'm talking about. Now, with regards to your rank, based on these two racks, and yes, we have to know that I have to be able to see more racks in order to give you a more accurate rank. But just off of these two racks here, I'm definitely going to have to say skill level 7. You have a good stroke, you have good planning, you have good ball patterns when you actually shoot, and you have good run out patterns. All of that is very well significant of being a skill level 7 here in the States. I'm not exactly sure how that applies in Australia, but that's how it would apply here in the APA League. So that's pretty much what I have for you. And viewers, what do you think? Do you agree or disagree? I mean, clearly I'm going to have to see more racks if there's any other types of advice that I can give him here because he just shot a wonderful game. So let me know what you think about in the comment section below. And if you clearly see other options that Mahmoud could have done here, also feel free to comment those with the timestamp of the shot and the other option that he could have done. So if you like what you saw, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Take care, everybody.